Meet Dr. William Carter, a world-renowned physicist, a man who has spent his entire life unraveling the mysteries of the universe. And yet, despite his unparalleled intelligence, he is absolutely convinced that the moon landing was an elaborate hoax. This isn't just an isolated case. Throughout history, some of the greatest minds, philosophers, scientists, even Nobel laureates, have fallen for irrational beliefs. But how is this possible? Being highly intelligent doesn't necessarily make you rational. In fact, what if intelligence could make you more vulnerable to certain delusions rather than less? In an era where misinformation is more sophisticated than ever, understanding why smart people believe irrational things is crucial. Because if intelligence alone can't protect us from falsehoods, then what can? Today, we'll uncover the cognitive traps even the smartest among us fall into, so you don't have to. Cognitive architecture of humans. To understand why intelligence doesn't guarantee rationality, we need to break down how the human brain processes information. Think of it as a three-layer system, each with a different function and different vulnerabilities. One, biological hardware, the ancient brain. The oldest part of our cognitive system is built for survival. Our brain is wired to prioritize patterns and detect threats, even when they don't exist. This is why we sometimes see faces in clouds, or why conspiracy theories which present simple cause and effect narratives can feel so compelling. 2. Algorithmic intelligence, the problem-solving brain. This is the part of the brain we usually associate with intelligence. It's measurable IQ, mathematical reasoning, and analytical skills. It allows us to solve complex equations, but it doesn't necessarily help us question why we believe what we do. 3. Intentional reasoning, the social and emotional brain. This is where things get tricky. Our reasoning isn't purely logical, it's goal-oriented. We filter information through personal biases, emotions, and social pressures. Sometimes, the smarter we are, the better we become at rationalizing flawed beliefs. In a famous study by Dan Kahan, researchers found that people with higher numeracy skills were actually more likely to misinterpret data when it contradicted their political beliefs. Intelligence didn't make them more objective. It made them better at defending their biases. So if intelligence alone isn't enough, what psychological mechanisms are leading even the smartest minds astray? 3. Psychological mechanisms of self-deception. When smart people encounter evidence that challenges their worldview, they don't necessarily change their minds. Instead, they become better at defending their existing beliefs. This process is called cognitive dissonance resolution, the mental gymnastics we use to reconcile conflicting information with what we already believe. Cognitive dissonance resolution, the mental gymnastics of intelligence. In a Yale University study, researchers found that when presented with politically charged data, people with higher intelligence were not better at interpreting facts. Instead, they were better at manipulating numbers to align with their existing beliefs. Key biases driving self-deception. Confirmation bias. We seek out, remember, and trust only information that supports our views. Motivated numeracy. Highly educated individuals can use statistics in strategic ways, not to find the truth, but to defend their stance. Semantic subversion, redefining key terms to protect ideological consistency. Case study. The engineers who proved the Earth is flat. They designed an experiment to prove the Earth was flat. But when the results showed curvature, what did they do? Instead of accepting reality, they convinced themselves the equipment was faulty. Intelligence didn't protect them from false beliefs. It simply gave them more sophisticated ways to deceive themselves. The smarter we are, the better we become at fooling ourselves. Sociocultural amplifiers of irrationality. Expertise, authority. We're trained to trust highly educated individuals. But what if higher education sometimes amplifies irrationality instead of reducing it? The prestige paradox. When intelligence breeds overconfidence. Research shows that elite education can increase overconfidence. The more expertise someone has in one area, the more likely they are to assume they are right about everything else. Overconfidence effects. Studies show that individuals from top universities tend to overestimate their knowledge in fields outside their expertise. Expertise transfer illusion. A Nobel-winning physicist speaking about nutrition doesn't make him a nutritionist, but his credentials give him credibility. Social signaling. Some intellectuals embrace contrarian views not because they believe them, but because it sets them apart from the mainstream. Academic examples. When scholars go off the rails, From Ivy League professors endorsing pseudoscience to world-class doctors spreading anti-vaccine rhetoric, academic credentials can be weaponized. The social feedback loop of irrationality. The higher someone climbs, the harder it is for them to admit they're wrong. Prestige doesn't always lead to truth. It can just as easily become a trap. The technology and rational irrationality. Technology was supposed to make us smarter. Instead, it's made us more divided. Welcome to the age of algorithmic radicalization, where even the most educated minds are caught in a trap of digital manipulation. How algorithms hijack intelligence. Effective feedback loops. Social media platforms prioritize engagement over truth, and what gets engagement? Emotional outrage, not accuracy. Gamified epistemology. Online debates aren't about truth-seeking anymore. They're about winning arguments. The smartest users? They're just better at playing the game. Fractured reality bubbles. Highly educated individuals don't just consume information. They curate it, building sophisticated echo chambers where only their side exists. The data doesn't lie. A groundbreaking MIT study found that PhD holders actually spend more time in politically extreme online communities than those with lower education levels. Instead of making them more open-minded, their intelligence helped them build stronger ideological fortresses. The smarter you are, the better you become at rationalizing your beliefs, and the harder it is to escape the digital echo chamber. Pathways to wisdom. If intelligence alone can't protect us from irrationality, what can? The answer lies in anti-fragile thinking, a mindset that doesn't just withstand challenges, but grows stronger through them. Cultivating anti-fragile thinking. Perspective-taking exercises. Force yourself to engage with opposing viewpoints, not to refute them, but to understand them. A powerful method? Steelman, an argument you disagree with. Explain it better than its supporters. Pre-commitment strategies. Before debating, set evidentiary thresholds. Ask yourself, what evidence would make me change my mind? If the answer is nothing, you're not reasoning, you're rationalizing. Intellectual humility training. Uncertainty isn't a weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. Studies show that teaching students to embrace doubt reduces dogmatism and improves decision-making. The science of breaking free. A study by the Center for Applied Rationality found that adversarial collaboration, where people with opposing views work together, significantly reduces dogmatic thinking. An information reliability checklist. Does this source have incentives to mislead? Are counter-arguments fairly represented? Metacognitive exercises. Regularly ask yourself, could I be wrong? True intelligence isn't just about knowledge, it's about knowing the limits of your own mind. We've seen how intelligence and rationality don't always align, how even the brightest minds can fall into bias, self-deception, and ideological traps. But there's a way forward. Intellectual humility, the ability to question our own beliefs, is the missing piece. In a world grappling with misinformation, polarization, and cognitive biases, wisdom isn't about being right, it's about being willing to be wrong. Final question. Which of your strongly held beliefs might just be fashionably irrational?